really exciting. I was really proud of the girls and how they came out, attacked the weekend. Anytime you're in a tournament setting in preseason, it's tough physically because you're playing playing multiple matches in one day. So we're managing a lot of moving parts, and fatigue is definitely a part of that. So to hold focus throughout day one and win in 6 straight sets was very impressive and definitely the tone we wanted to set. So I'm proud of them, and we hit some big goals and then had moments where we need some big time growth for next weekend. So it was a good way to start.
Allison, it's kind of cool because the last couple of years you've had like men's basketball and the soccer team host tournaments, and now getting a chance to host a tournament for the volleyball program. Like, what was that like just to kick off the season like that and bring teams to Missoula and just, kind of host your own little tournament here?
Yeah, it was really fun. And hosting's been tough around the pandemic and things. So it's nice to be on a regular schedule where we're hosting at least one weekend a year, and we hope to host 2 next year. So Missoula is such an amazing place to come visit. I think teams show a lot of interest in that. But it's also a tough place to visit this time of year, cost-wise. So I think we worked really hard to make this tournament feasible for our visiting teams, and I think we brought together a really exciting field. But to be able to kick it off at home with the freshmen moving into the dorms and just the general momentum in Missoula for the start of the year, I think was really, really fun and felt like a big kind of jump start on our season. Yeah.
Allison, that second set against UC Davis on Saturday where, you're tied at 18 and then facing set point, you guys come back, win it in extra points. How impressed were you with the resilience to come back in that frame?
Yes, that was really exciting. And I think a big piece of that was freshman Maddie Piles, and she came in and Davis has some outsides that touch pretty high, and if that set's on the net, they can kind of get over us in a sense. We're probably touching it and slowing it down, but Maddie's really high on her block, and so for a freshman to come in and execute it's one of those blocks, if you watch volleyball, where everybody kind of feels it in their stomach, where it just goes straight down and you hear it and you feel it. And so for her to come in and having never played and execute on that level and shut down a really big physical hitter of theirs, I think it was pretty exciting. I think all of us were pretty fired up. So it wasn't just her. It was, our whole team sets up that play, but I think it's big time execution from a freshman too in those moments.
What are you most excited for about this program going into this year?
Yeah, I think this is the first year it has really felt like we have a ton of experience at each position. And so with youth, you have excitement in different ways, but I feel like this year we can finally have a sense of confidence in that we have a ton of experience. And so I think last year when we saw moments where we were losing sets by 1 or 2 points, losing matches in 5th sets, I think this year I'm most excited to see us turn the corner in that way. And when it's all on the line and we have to execute down the stretch, it's happening. So the post 20-point Griz volleyball team, I think, is what I'm really excited to see.
Those can go your way in general this season if what?
If what? I think there's a gear you have to get in and a way you invite the pressure in those moments. And when you're young, I think sometimes you ride your youth and you're like, this is just fun, and you're not really overthinking it. But I think as you get older, you learn what to focus on when the pressure is at its highest. And I know this group feels that they've come through and executed under pressure. So they have the confidence from knowing they've done it before. And then I think it's the deliberate decision to put their focus on doing it. And so, I think that's there, and I think it will be there, and I'm excited to see them do it.
You obviously have one from Sentinel here. You've had a couple from Sentinel, but what's it like when you have that local talent and they come into the program and do big things, and just how special is that?
It's really wonderful. That's one of the things I love about working at UM and in Montana is just the pride for local Montana athletes. And so I've known Sierra since she was young, and so to see her progression, I think you just have, it feels special in a way and sentimental almost in a way as a coach when you see that growth from a hometown athlete. see it on the big stage. And so it's fun to see the crowd kind of rally around that, and it's fun to see more people from the community rally around that too and show up for games. I think it helps attendance. It just builds momentum in a way like nothing else in the state. So it's pretty special, and I think it's hard on the athlete too. You're under a spotlight as a high school athlete, but then there's also an extra attention on you here of, okay, Sentinel produced this, they did this at the high school level. What are they going to do now that they're at this high level? And so I think there's extra eyes on athletes like Sierra and a little bit of extra pressure. And so I think it's big time when they come through, and what she did takes toughness, takes resilience, and just takes some guts to go do it. So I was proud of her.
Sierra, I'll start with the question. Obviously, last year you weren't able to play. You got injured in fall camp, redshirted last year. So finally being able to make your debut and to be able to do it in front of home crowd like you did this weekend, what was that like?
It was super awesome. I was super excited. Obviously, there was a lot of excitement there. I think, too, there was those first game jitters, kind of nerves, but I think being able to do that here at home, not only for our team, but like being in my hometown, having all of that support system here and having family and friends and all the people that we knew was comforting in a way, and helped relieve some of those nerves. And then getting to kick butt too just made it that much better. So it was super awesome, and I was super, super happy that we got to start it off here at home.
Talked about the support and everything. Coach kind of mentioned maybe the double-edged part of that with being some pressure. How would you describe what it's like playing for your kind of hometown college team?
I love it. Obviously, coming from Missoula, I have a lot of connections, and being a hometown athlete, you know a lot of people, whether it's like old teachers, coworkers, family, friends, that kind of thing, and they hear that you're playing, you have game, like they're all, oh, I'm going to come support, I want to come support. So it's exciting to, feel like you're drawing in a crowd and bringing in some of those eyes, but like she said, it is kind of nerve-wracking, hearing friends' parents, oh, we're going to come watch, and that thing, still wanting to focus in on the game, but also it's fun to just have friends and stuff come, so it's cool. I really like it, and I would much rather have it that way than being away from everybody.
Coach had mentioned it's not just about being competitive in sets, but winning matches, things like that. As a player, when you put those expectations on you, can you feel that? What is that like when you are going out there expecting to get the results that you want?
Yeah, you definitely feel it as an athlete. I think especially in those like 2020 sets where it gets really close, you have athletes that either thrive under that pressure or athletes that completely break down. And I think one thing that our team is really honed in on is working to be that group of girls that thrives under that pressure, and being able to hold that with each other, and hold each other up to that. And I think we did a lot of that over the weekend, this past weekend, and I think that's how we pulled out a lot of our wins too, was just being the stronger team mentally, and staying focused through those last few points.
Was there a moment this past weekend where it kind of hit you that, this is truly happening and I'm really playing for my hometown team? Is there one moment in your mind that stands out?
I don't know about one moment specifically, but I do remember, first serve on the first point of the first game, I was just looking across the net, and I was like, this is really happening. I was like, this is an actual game, preseason game. But after the first 3 points, those nerves kind of went away. So you're like, the game itself hasn't changed. It's still volleyball. You're doing the same things that you've been practicing. And I think after working through those first couple points, and then hearing the crowd too, on those first few points when we won, it was super cool, and it turned a lot of those nerves into excitement, I think, for the rest of the game.
And to have a pretty solid opening weekend like you guys did, you battled against Davis, you win the first 2 matches. What do you feel like that does coming into these, other non-conference tournaments that you're going to go on the road and play now?
Yeah, I think that's a big boost for us going into the rest of our preseason. I think during fall camp and this past week before, we really trying to fine tune some things on our team. We had a couple transfers, new freshmen, and so working them into that program and into that system, I think we really tried to be a group and perfect that craft a little bit. And I think coming out in those first two sets, in the first two matches, it felt like a team. Like there wasn't a point or anything where it felt like we were falling apart or it felt like the connection and the chemistry wasn't there. And I think that's new for us. Like I think a lot of us haven't really felt that before. And it was really relieving, and I think it'll let us go into the rest of the preseason feeling really confident.
After starting the season here in town, like, is there much of a reset for the team, just kind of mentally, like thinking like now we got to travel across the country for another tournament? Like, is there any kind of reset for there, or like what's that process like as you kind of adjust and leave kind of the friendly confines of Missoula?
I think it helped just to have for a starting point to kind of get that momentum going with the home crowd and the excitement of having a home tournament. And I think from there we can just use that as confidence and a big boost going into the rest of our season, traveling and all of that, that it's there. And we saw it come out this weekend. So just knowing that going into our next games, I think that'll be good.
Just one more question. Obviously, this weekend was fun, but also a fun part of it was being able to recognize Ellie, your 8-year-old adopted teammate through Team Impact. Just kind of what has having Ellie been around the program been like, and being able to have her cheer you guys on after those wins?
Yeah, we love her, and we're so fortunate as a team to be able to have her with us. I think sometimes as an athlete, it's really easy to like get your head buried under the fact that it's like, okay, I'm here to play sports and that's it. But I feel like in a lot of ways she's opened our eyes to see that there's a much bigger impact of our sport and what we do than we recognize. And so seeing how excited she gets at games and how excited she gets at practices, just knowing that we have that kind of influence over other people, I think has really opened our eyes as athletes. And we just love having her support. Having her on the sideline at games, I think is really cool, and we're really happy that we can do that for her. And I think she brings a lot of joy to our program in a lot of ways.